I'm joined by Mr. Tony Khan.
Thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it.
Welcome to the ring.
Thanks. Thanks for coming.
I like to conduct all of my interviews in the wrestling ring so that at any point this could break out into a fight. This is a no DQ interview, and at any point I could powerbomb you if you refuse to answer a question.
That's no different than any other night out I've spent with you. So
just relax.
Yeah, I'm very relaxed. No, I'm more relaxed than I've ever been with any other interviewer. You're one of my best friends, and it means the world to me that you came and did this. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, I'm very excited, but first out the gate, I have to throw this question at you. As we know, you're involved with some of the most fiercely competitive sports in the world. And when you said you were looking for a new challenge, I was thinking, just pick something easy. Like invest in women's beach volleyball. Buy a women's beach volleyball team, buy all the best women's beach volleyball players, absolutely dominate that sport. Instead, you've decided to take on WWE. Are you mad?
No.
No.
And I told you last year when I was first thinking of doing this that there's a great business case for this, and I laid it out. And you're the perfect person to make the case to, because you are somebody who grew up loving wrestling.
I love wrestling.
And you hadn't watched much wrestling for a little while. Occasionally you would go out and check in, but you were what I would call a lapsed wrestling fan, effectively. And when I talked to you about it, it was clear that you had a love of wrestling inside you that could be rekindled. And I believe there are millions and millions of people around the world, particularly in the US, the UK, Canada, markets that we're focusing on right out of the gate, but also in other countries where the love of wrestling is spread, where people really, really cared about it, but deep down they love wrestling, but they just aren't watching that much of it. And I believe if we create a competitive environment and put the best wrestling product out there and work really hard, I think we can rekindle a love of wrestling internationally, and it'll be like it was 20 years ago, where everybody was watching wrestling.
Yeah. And what can fans, do you think, expect from AEW? What's going to make it stand out?
I mean, we've got some of the best in-ring performers in the world, but they're also great characters. They're great performers, both in the ring and out of the ring. So, last year I came together with a group of wrestlers that all became suddenly available to work in January. And these guys really, really performed at such a high level that they drew such interest in their show that any wrestling fan already knows this. But if you weren't a huge wrestling fan, you might be really impressed to know that Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, had never done a show on television as a group, as a wrestling promotion, yet they were able to draw over 11,000 people to a show they did in suburban Chicago, just on basically viral promotion and word of mouth, and through the love of wrestling that they've spread. The kind of people that came to their show were some of the most rabid, passionate fans you'll ever see, and it was like a really, really exciting experience. I was there, and it was one of the best shows I've ever been to. And when they became available to work for somebody else, I was there with a business case, with a business plan, and an idea that we could produce a show that was going to be available weekly, and that we could recreate what was a better time to be a wrestling fan in many ways. Because right now, we've got this going for us what AEW's got. We've got the best wrestlers in the world, the best in-ring performers, but we don't have until now a platform where anybody besides WWE, which has really, really great distribution in a lot of places, now we're getting distribution in places all over the world where we're getting as good or better distribution in many of the biggest markets. And I think for wrestling fans, it's been a long time since that was a case where anybody else was competitive in that aspect. And so when you say taking on, I don't see it like that, because I just want more wrestling for everybody. I think that the more wrestling people watch, the better. And I don't try and discourage people from watching wrestling, and we don't discourage people from wearing other wrestling company shirts to our shows, for that matter. We're a pretty open, inclusive group, which is what makes it fun, and I think it's why people like coming to our shows.
And you talked about foreign markets there. Obviously, the most important market with wrestling is the UK. Probably won't say that when I'm interviewing Cody, but I can say it now. Fans in the UK are going to get wrestling again on ITV as well, which has an amazing history of wrestling. How exciting is it to be on ITV?
They were the first partner we could have chosen. People at ITV are phenomenal. When I first went to them with this idea, I didn't actually have anything yet. All I had was an idea, and it was you know.
What, you had no wrestlers?
No, I went to them and I had no wrestlers, or I, really didn't even officially have a name of a wrestling company. I had an idea.
And they bought it?
They didn't buy it, but they liked what I was saying. And
that makes me think I should try and sell more stuff to ITV.
I hadn't sold anything to them yet, but we had a concept that they wanted to keep talking about. And then when I did do all these things, they knew, hey, it's a man of his word. Like he said he was going to create a new wrestling company. He said he would generate a lot of interest in the wrestling company. He said they were going to put together a roster of like the best performers in the world in short time and build this buzz, and that they would do this show in Las Vegas and that it would sell out. And I went and did all those things, and then they were there and they held up their end of the handshake too. And it's been a great partnership. And the people that work in ITV Sport are like phenomenal people. And what I think is really cool is some of them are like really, really big wrestling fans.
Yeah.
And it's always a pleasure. Like just like I enjoy talking to you about it and have enjoyed kind of getting you back into wrestling, I enjoy talking to them about it. It's really fun. It's not a chore for me. This is like when you say, am I mad to like get into the business? Well, I told you when I was getting into it, I really do love it. And just like with all the businesses we're in, I'm very fortunate. Like I get to work in things that I want to do and choose to do. And I'm not doing this just because like it's a fun thing to do. We invested millions upon millions of dollars into what we believe is going to be a huge, huge business.
Do you have to every now and again just remind us, because you are a fan, you're a genuine fan of wrestling, as I am. When you're then involved in it as a business, are you constantly having to try and go, just don't turn yourself into a fan when you meet some of these people and you're involved in it at that level?
And you can't like hire everybody in the world, and it's hard because there's like so many people that you are a fan of that are like great performers, but like we're running a business here, so you have, and the people we have hired, I want to put every resource into. You don't want to have a roster full of people that you don't have any availability for. But what's great is we also have enough performers on the roster to give us some flexibility in terms of scheduling. And what's great also is I'm not planning to do really the hardest road schedule in the history of wrestling by any means. And in fact, it's going to be, in my opinion, the most favorable quality of life plan anybody's ever put together for the roster of wrestlers. Because if you look at what we're offering in terms of salary relative to the number of dates people are performing and the opportunity to gain full-time employment either here or elsewhere where you can work a full-time job, either there's full-time jobs that people here in the studio are doing and they're full-time employees, and then several, and there are people that work in the production side, that work on the talent side, that work on the creative side, and that's full-time job outside of, we're expecting them to wrestle a couple times a week. It's not like you're going to be spending, when we're up and running, long after Double or Nothing, on May 25th.
Great plug.
Thank you.
You just subtly wove it in.
It wasn't that subtle, was it? It wasn't that subtle. I was on ITV Box Office and in demand in the U.S. and available streaming on BR Live in the U.S. and Fight elsewhere. And it wasn't that subtle.
Actually, no, I shouldn't that, like, as an interviewer, I should have memorized all of that and then said
You're
it,
a great
so you
friend.
didn't have to.
You're a great friend. Thanks for being here. I'm just glad. Thanks for coming. I mean, you don't worry about the plugs. I'll handle the plugs. You're great.
Tell me about Double or Nothing. What are we going to see at that event?
Double or Nothing is going to be, in my opinion, one of the greatest pay-per-views in wrestling history, and I know something about it in that, like, I'm very familiar with what we're planning for Double or Nothing, and I've seen every pay-per-view in wrestling history, pretty much. So I have a very good idea of, that this is going to be a tremendous card. We've got some of the best performers in the world. We've got some great announcements still about the card to build interest.
There's still some surprises.
Yeah, there's going to be some surprises. In fact, I think I've got some news that I'm going to share with you when we get off here. Some big news that you're going to find really, really interesting as a fan and as somebody who's here working on this with us. It's pretty cool. We have some really exciting stuff coming out, and what we've already announced is huge. I mean, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho are considered possibly two best wrestlers in the world right now. And they had a match less than 2 years ago that was considered a classic, a 5-star classic, and one of the best wrestling matches in years. And everybody's been wanting to see that match in America. It happened in Japan, and it happened in a packed Tokyo Dome. And now I think the interest is built, and what we've got around this match, it's going to be a huge match. And there's some more news on it yet to come. And also, the issue that's been building between Dustin and Cody, It's a fantastic issue, and you and I have spent a lot of time talking about
Yeah.
it, and you and Cody, and you'll have a chance to talk to Cody more about it. But
Two brothers pitted against each other, positively Shakespearean.
It is positively Shakespearean, especially in the context of this business. When you look at them and their place in the wrestling industry, their lifelong place in the wrestling industry, two princes of the wrestling industry, and two people that hold a really special place in my heart, both separately and together, because they're actually one of my favorite tag teams ever.
Yeah.
Dustin and Cody, great tag team. And to see them going against each other, it's going to be really, really fantastic. And then Cody, the role he plays in this company, it's just a huge moment for him too, to be stepping into the ring and to have that be his first opponent, not only one of the greatest wrestlers ever, but his brother. And also the issue for the AAA Lucha Libre Tag Team titles, with the Young Bucks went to Mexico to get revenge for what the Lucha Brothers had done to Matt. It's brothers, also brothers versus brothers here. The Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks, you've seen the issue, and that the package pile driver on the stage in Las Vegas, and the Bucks had to get revenge and went to Mexico and captured the AAA Lucha Libre Tag Team titles, and now that's going to be an insane match. So what we have at the top of the card is going to be amazing, and then the Battle Royal, the Casino Battle Royale on the ITV4. Yes, the Casino Battle Royale.
Casino Battle Royale.
Yes. Yes. That is going to be on ITV4 as a part of the buy-in at midnight, which will also be in the U.S. At 7 p.m. Eastern. That'll be available on YouTube. That's free to air, and I would really like people that have been, itching, that have been dying to see some more wrestling and want wrestling to succeed and want to go back to a time when wrestling was cool, when it was cool to be a fan of wrestling. Like when everyone was doing it, and you could talk to anybody, whether it was, friends at work, friends at school, or the guy on the street while you're waiting in line for coffee, the guy in the t-shirt that, you see the t-shirt of the wrestler that you like, and you start up a conversation. It's just fun. And I want to get back to that, because there's so much great wrestling out there right now, and we just need to give it this great platform that everybody's going to have for it now. So it's a really exciting time.
And how hands-on are you with AEW?
Very hands-on with AEW. I'm very hands-on with all of our businesses. And that's just, I don't know any other way. And that's why I got involved in things I really care about. So in the case of AEW, it's a really close partnership I have with the executive vice presidents that work directly with me, with Cody and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. The four of us, them and the five of us, talk every day. When you and I were riding over here, it was like a lot of messages going back and forth between the five of us. We have one of the more active group chats, and we talk on the phone on a daily basis, and we work very closely together. It's a really great creative and business partnership, and then we have a lot of talent that's very involved also in the daily business. Brandy is the chief brand officer, and she and I also talk on a daily basis about how to build the brand of AEW, which is a huge, huge responsibility. So I am really hands-on.
At this stage, involved and hands-on at a business level, will we ever see you in the ring?
No.
Because I know Vince McMahon eventually decided for the storyline that it would be better if he got in there and he started wrestling a bit. Will we ever see Tony Khan in a little pair of pants in here hurling himself off the top rope?
This is as close as you're gonna get. I'll come in the ring and I'll sit on a stool and talk to you, and this is the smallest pair of pants I'm gonna wear.
But if Cody said, look, I think it would be great if I just speared you at the end of one of these events.
No, we're not gonna do that. And
I
don't see why.
Well, no, because I spoke to Cody and he said he would be up for. He didn't. I'm lying. I want to talk about wrestling in the UK.
Yes.
Obviously, you have a great connection to the UK. Would you be looking to bring AEW over to the UK at some point in the future?
Yeah, I would love to bring AEW to the UK in the future. I mean, we've, what we've got right now going in the US and in the UK is phenomenal, because like I said, it's been so long since anybody's had the kind of nobody's had the distribution we've had. To have partners like TNT and ITV at the same time, it's the best distribution any wrestling company, bar none, has ever had. And that's what we have on our side right now. And absolutely, we are going to come into the UK and do some big shows. I'm really excited about what we're going to do in the UK. I hope you'll be there.
I'll be there.
Both the US shows and the UK shows. I hope we get you at
maybe as well, you're going to be needing some UK wrestlers, probably to try and entice some of the audience over there. And I'm just saying, I do have some
We have
availability.
some
If some
gr-
contracts got drawn up,
We have some
I would be
great-
willing to bring Tommy Tank out of retirement.
Well, I don't know if we need Tommy Tank.
Oh.
No, we have some great UK wrestlers, and and then if any of them, for whatever reason, weren't available, and I was looking to book another UK wrestler, I probably wouldn't book you.
Right.
But please.
But if the ones that you were going to use, if the other ones were injured, then also got injured, if there was some like food poisoning bug that went round and you were like really desperate,
yeah,
then I'm there.
Yeah, then it's good to know you're there for us.
I can
if
see
we need
Cody outside the ring. He's quaking in his little boots right now.
It's good. You know what?
Watch this space.
I'll tell you something. It would take a lot of guys getting really, really sick, and but you never know. If enough people went down in one weekend, man, it's just good to know you're there for us. And,
Thanks very much.
And you have a SAG card, and you're
I feel like this is now should be the end of the interview. I just choke slam you and I pin you, and then we're done here. But Tony, it was very nice to speak to you, and great to hear about AEW. I'm very excited.
I can't thank you enough for supporting AEW and what you're doing for us. To have somebody who's the star of your magnitude and also like the best person I know. You're the greatest. Thank you for doing this.
Well, thanks very much. I mean, I was only really here because I thought that it would be a way into joining in a wrestling capacity. But since that's not going to happen, I'm very happy to just be a fan.
Thanks, man.
Tony Khan, thank you
You're
very
the best.
much.
Thanks, man.
Hey guys, Brandy Rhodes here. I want you to go to itvboxoffice.com right now and order the Double or Nothing pay-per-view.